four-legged. There's folks, we see them as beings that we cohabitate with. They're just as important as any human. And so it's a big part of our culture. But for me, Nimki Magizi, the thunder eagle, is a very spiritual animal that represents something that can see far. And so it tends to be a part of both babies that come from the creator and that first walk of life, because they have their whole life ahead of them. So there's a lot of symbolic references to eagles, also with elders and veterans. And to have an eagle feather is something you earn. It's an honor. It's like a badge. It's like a medal of honor, like a veteran would in the war. And so to have this, I'm very humble, and it's interesting that you are also very humble in talking about just being a photographer of eagles, how humble it makes you. So I know you have that affinity and that idea or understanding, which I'll have you talk about here in a second, about what the eagles bring to you in your spirit, and also the why you chose the eagle. But for me, yeah, I was not given this lightly. I have to take very big responsibility with this, because we use these in our ceremonies. We use these to talk to the creator. The eagle flies closest to the creator, and so therefore brings our prayers to the creator. And so it's a very, very special relationship that's to be honored and to be protected, just like the animal itself. So thank you so much for this opportunity. But I'm going to give you the floor again, and we're going to set this up again with the buttons. Should I just do a takeover there, Lindsay, and then we'll have everybody ready for joining in?
I think, Michelle, we have a bit of an echo here. I'm not sure where it's coming from, or am I the only one who hears it? Just before we go on.
I heard a slight one.
I heard a slight one. It might be that I'm too close to my microphone. We'll see.
It's okay.
Turn that down. Okay.
Okay, no, that's fine.
I love your backdrop.
I know. Isn't that awesome?
Well, thank you very much, Michelle. I really feel honored to be here, and I'm sure that's exactly the same why Georgia is just as enthusiastic about this as I am. And you know, just the way you talk about animals is just fantastic. I mean, fantastic is not even the right word. I'm lost for words, but I love your connection to nature. And I have so seen that with the First Nations here in British Columbia too. Not that I have a lot of experience at all, but the few that I have met were always very open. I've seen the way they've been carving wood and so on. I think we have an echo somewhere, and I'm not sure if I'm the culprit or where it's coming from. I'm not sure. I hope it's not me.
I actually kind of think it is, because I just muted everybody but you. So
okay, hang on.
We've got help in here.
I see. There's a mobile
I'm going to try and figure this one out.
That's still
why I'm the culprit. Let me just figure this one out.
The Gerald's bar is still moving, even though it says it's muted. So I don't know if it's that or if it's somebody else. I can't confirm or deny.
Well, we have someone I think that's going to help us out here. He can figure it out. But Pablo is here. But while we're waiting for that, okay. Okay. All right, I think I'm just gonna go one by one, and while we're waiting for. Oh, nope, it's still echoing.
Yeah, not sure where it's coming from. Not sure where it's coming from. Okay, Pablo said it's not me. Yay! Okay, Pablo said it's not me.
Yay! I've muted my camera.
Pablo says it's Gerald. I'm just so thanks for that, Pablo. That's really helpful, because there's nothing worse than having echoing. So we apologize for that.
Well, I will unmute him and mute him again. Okay. Is that fix it? Okay. Nope. Is that fix it?
It's weird.
That's very strange.
It's weird.
It is everywhere.
Well, I know Pablo is very helpful, but
Well, Anthony, I think I'm just going to ask you to step down for a second and come back in because it looks like your window is gone. Oh, he
Okay,
is
your
doing
echo
that.
is gone now.
Oh, he did do that. He stepped out and he came back in. All right, let's just bring everybody back in. I apologize. This
No,
happens.
no,
We're
that's.
live.
I mean, this is really
Ah,
complicated
this
to
is
do.
fun.
So you're doing fine. You really are
Oh,
doing
thank
fine.
you. Lindsay,
This
why
is
don't you
not
just help
easy.
me bring everyone back in one by one and
Sure.
we'll get that all set up. And you can even take my face off and just put my art on because I do have that set up now. But thank you guys so much. Thank you guys.
Sure.
And I hope you all have headphones on, whatever it is. Yes, I have this blank page piece of paper here, but we have someone who's already started sketching. So Anthony, is that you? No, that's Brenda, right?
Oh, that's me, probably.
Oh, there you go. It is you. Okay, we're going to start with you since you've already started sketching.
Oh, gosh,
Oh,
everybody.
okay.
I'm going to bring in. Oh, I can't bring in. I'm going to have you bring in your photo reference and just talk
Oh,
about why you chose that, what the eagle represents to you.
okay. This is my, let's see, can you see it there really well?
Yeah, that's
I
nice.
think we can.
That's my photo reference. I just have always liked the eagle in flight. It's probably one of the most spiritual things I think I'll ever see. Um, the it just I mean, it just shows freedom, and it's just so beautiful. I think when an eagle is in full flight. So I've never drawn an eagle before, so this is very exciting for me. And I did want to mention when I was in North Carolina this past summer, we went to the aquarium in North Carolina Beach, and they have an eagle there that was hit on the road. A car had hit it,
Oh,
and they tried to save it. It's alive, but they keep it grounded right there in the right outside the aquarium. But he can't fly, but he's got many visitors there, you know, and he's so beautiful. I can't remember the name of the eagle, but if you're ever in North Carolina, check it out because it's giving life back to this eagle that can't get off the ground
Aw,
anymore. So
right.
I
Oh,
wanted to put that in
wow.
there.
That is something. Well, no, Brenda here, you guys, is a really fabulous watercolor artist. You're an art teacher as well. So, I mean, think about this in terms of art instruction, where you could cross over a little bit about like let's draw wildlife and also bring that as a teaching moment about
mhm.
preservation. But
Hmm, that's
also, you've
true.
done other animals as well. But this is exciting. I'm really happy that you're
Yeah,
here.
I was really thrilled to be able to be. I'm honored to join you guys and Dr. Sasa in Georgia. Hello, I didn't get a chance to say hi to you, so it's
She's muted.
nice meeting
Yeah,
everybody tonight.
yeah. Okay, well, I'm gonna switch over the next person down that I want to have, open up what their inspiration is Lindsay Badger,
Hello.
the person that really should be pushing these buttons.
Oh,
Oh, look
you're
at this. Now
doing
she's all,
great.
I know, but you're Miss OBS, and I
You're
love
doing
your setup.
great. See here, look at this.
She's
Boom.
got
That's
her
that's my
reference
picture.
photo. I love that. Now, why did
That's
you pick this
beautiful.
picture?
Love that.
Um, it shows the pure fierceness that's within. It's just the eyes. It like pierces into your
Oh
soul.
yeah.
Aw.
And it was so difficult. You are such a good photographer, Dr. Sasse, that it was the most difficult task. You were like, "Oh, just pick one." No.
Right?
No, I want to draw every single one, not just the eagles. The eagles are great. They're beautiful, they're gorgeous. I could stare at them for days. But then there's ducks and there's hummingbirds, and then we go out of this world literally into nebulas of beyond. And I was like,
Astrophotography,
okay, I
yes.
know we're doing eagles, y'all, but I really want to go down into space. So we're gonna have to do another collab another time that's in a different
Oh,
topic, just
yes.
so that I can revisit those pictures because they're gorgeous.
And of
I
course,
love that one.
I'm already excited about the possibility of bats in maybe October. Just hint, hint, George. I hope you're free.
Woo!
Oh, of
Because I
course.
I
mean,
love
Yeah.
that.
yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of people are afraid of bats. Just like they would be of spiders and other things. But you know what? They're just amazing, amazing. They should have here. So there you go. Thank you. And I love that you brought up the y'all. She's from Oklahoma.
Y'all.
So this
Yes,
is really,
I am
you
the
brought out the y'all
Midwestern
in her.
gal.
All right. Well,
All
we are going to
right.
go to you, Anthony. You are next. I'm picking on you. Yes. But he's already got something started. I can see your initial render there too. Oh, wow. Now he picked this picture. I'm going to bring this up because
I'm
I
gonna do
Ooh.
this.
did manage to
There we go.
bring the I tried my best to get
Wow.
everybody's reference photos, but let's just show his reference photo. Look what he's got here, guys. Oops, I did it wrong. I did
That's
that
okay.
wrong. Everybody came in. Oh my gosh.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
We're
This is
here.
hilarious. This is hilarious. Might as well just leave it this way. Yeah, there's his reference photo. It's right above his drawing anyway. Is that not amazing? Gerald. It says Gerald Benton Art. You guys, I always get confused because his name is actually Anthony Harris. So Anthony, tell us, why did you pick this picture and what did it mean to you to draw this amazing animal? Are you there? Is he unmuted? Oh, he's probably talking. There you go. Can you, are you there?
Yeah.
There he is. Okay, we unmuted you. So why did you
Okay.
pick this picture and what does it mean to you to draw it today? It's gorgeous, your start there. Can you hear me? I think we're having a little trouble with audio there. Well, Anthony, at some point you can let us know what's going on there. I don't know
I
what's
love
happening.
the
I do have,
contrast between.
yeah.
I was just going to say, I love the contrast between this photo and the last one. Like the eagles are both so fierce, but like in one, it's very composed, like together. And then this one, it's just like, you know, gritty, like.
Yeah, I mean, you can almost hear him screeching, like he's like, you know, get away from my fish.
I'll give you the background of this
Oh, please do,
photo
yes.
if you want. I can give you the background of any photo because they all mean a lot to me.
Okay.
This was, I remember this very well. This was in winter actually, where you know, the fighting for salmon is, you know, if salmon's not there in abundance, there is very much a hierarchy among eagles. This is a female, probably 4 to 5 years old. You can see that usually on the tail feathers, they will have some black markings. I remember that very well. You can see
nice.
some. So it's a young, very young, fierce female. They are very clearly ranked when they approach food. So typically, the strongest female comes in first. And the interesting thing about the behavior here is she, you know, they would typically form this umbrella over the fish, and they would really defend it. And what would happen is, because the salmon is so typically would be chum salmon in our area, would be so rich in protein, and they
Right.
eat it at an incredible rate. They really do. They virtually swallow down the food. So within 5 to 10 minutes, this female eagle would be full, and then, you know, the next female would notice that and push it aside and take over. So that's the ranking. But the interesting thing is the behavior of the males, and I really was able to observe that together with my friend David Hancock, who's, you know, the absolute eagle expert. I've learned so much from him when we went to the Aleutian Islands. I've been there 3 times, and my last visit was with him just before COVID started. And he showed me a lot of details that I wasn't aware of. And one of them was, what we studied there was the behavior of the males, because the males are a lot smaller than the females. So they have very different roles in, you know, in the upbringing of offspring and so on. But the males are a lot faster. Interestingly enough, you'll find that in the group behavior, the males will be allowed to quickly come in and pick some fish. And the female thinks that's fine, but no ways another female. It's so so this type of ranking, we weren't aware of that, and we actually documented all that on film. I don't think that has been properly documented at all. I have never read about this anywhere, so that was something new that I learned. So that maybe just tells you a little bit about the background here.
Now, what I'm doing is I'm going to bring in the rest of the reference photos Now, this one at the bottom, if
Yes.
you guys missed it, Joseph Burke Arts already, as you can see, we're trying to get a large group of an artist community that's growing, which is amazing, but we can't all broadcast at the same time sometimes. As you folks know, we all have busy lives and things, but we have tried our best to kind of collaborate. And we do on different nights. So Joseph Burke Arts is live usually Wednesday nights. And this is the reference photo he had. I apologize, I don't have his artwork yet, but I will post all of the artwork once we have them all complete. But this is the photo that he chose. I've got the one at the top that I've chose with the wingspan, and I'm going to bring Lindsay's back in, which she was kind of cool enough to have that with her OBS there. I love that you have that in your picture window, but we have one more here. And again, Brenda, I'm sorry I don't have yours, but these
No
are the
problem.
ones that we have uploaded and are using for our references and to interpret in each of our own ways. And I think this one at the corner is the one that Jeremy is going to use for reference. Jeremy Stoltz is also joining us. And Desiree Mathis is also probably going to pick something. She also is amazing in terms of doing animals. She'll probably have broadcast on her own, but we're going to bring all of these things together. But go ahead and I'm just going to kind of keep this up for a second. If there's anything either one of you, Georgia or Christian, want to say about any of these pictures or eagles in general, and then
Georgia,
we'll
do you want to say something first, and then I'll tell you where the pictures come from. But just tell me what you think.
Tell you what I think of the pictures. Well, Christian, I have to tell you that one thing is I see these pictures, some of them kind of completely different after our episode yesterday that we did, our episode yesterday of the Humans and Wildlife show, where you interviewed David Hancock, and he was talking about how the United States used to have a bounty that they paid for the eagle talons.
Right.
And
wow.
you had that picture. He would talk about the buckets that sailors would have of they would kill the eagles, and then they would cut off their talons as proof that they had killed an eagle, and then they would trade, I forget how much money he said it was, but some amount of money per pair of talons that the government would pay you for getting rid of these terrible eagles that were eating all of our fish or whatever. So I see these animals and I just feel like a little bit like, oh, I'm glad that their feet are the eagle is alive and their feet are still attached to them.
Wow, I never thought about that as in terms of like we have to get rid of them because they're taking away a resource when in a sense they're the resource. I mean, why would we do that
the perspective has really shifted on that, and there's no bounty on eagles now. But there are still like wildlife killing contests and things like that where the government will and other people will incentivize sort of killing predators. So it's great to see the magnificence of these predators sort of frozen for us in these photographs and now in your artwork so that people can appreciate them more.
Oh, that's beautifully said. Thank you. I'm going to bring Christian back in as well. Let's see if we can do this. Did I click on the right picture? I did. Yes, yay. Yes. So would you like to explain a little bit more about like where these images come from and just your feelings after hearing what everyone had to say?
I think it's very nice that Georgia mentioned David Hancock, of the broadcast yesterday. There's probably no one who is more connected from as a biologist as he is over decades of experience. The only person I can think of that compares to that is David Attenborough, if that.
Okay.
From the experience over decades and decades, which is very rare, I think. So it's very nice that Georgia mentioned him. So just about the images, as you can see, they're very different. They are also taken in different, very different environments. So if I start maybe at the one with the eagle spread out diving, that's taken in Boundary Bay. And that's typically, the eagles are very prominent there. We have a very rich intertidal zone there, which is one of the most fertile tidal zones in the world, actually. It's absolutely incredible. And we have certain fish there called midshipman fish, which I didn't even know existed until I learned about the incredible richness of the intertidal zone. So what the eagles do there, typically in May and especially in June, They come from their migration, and just before they go north to the salmon runs, when the salmon runs in June start off way north in Alaska, they stay there for quite some time, and that also coincides with the breeding. So the offspring behavior of the juveniles, because it's very easy to go down to the beach and pick out these midshipmen. They're sort of very fleshy and very rich in protein, very easy to catch because they are caught in, as the tide recedes from high tide to low tide, they are caught in these intertidal zones, and they're very easy to catch for them. And that's why it's such a rich area. It's very important for, to preserve this type of area. And that's where these two top pictures in the middle come from.
Okay, awesome. Well, now I still just am fascinated personally with why the eagle. I mean, you take pictures of so many things, but why specifically the eagle? What was it about the eagle that you
Okay,
were just
I'll have to answer that. Almost an embarrassment. Okay, I really can.
That's fine.
What happened is I came to Canada in 2007, and because I was building up a completely new life, I was completely focused on bringing up, making sure my boys were fine. I was alone, bringing up my children all alone, bringing up,
Okay.
making sure that they would go to school. And I just lost my wife before that
Oh, I'm
so
so sorry.
it was very tragic, but so I was a widower when I came to Canada. So I had full responsibility for my boys, and I was very worried about them making it in school and so on. And I had no time for anything until one day, I was driving to Vancouver, and I have to really say that I'm almost embarrassed. In 2010, I thought, what are these birds up there? They're huge. I had no idea that we had eagles, nothing. And I suddenly
Wow.
woke up. It was the first time after 3 years where I started looking around and saying, wow, this is really beautiful here. And I had a very simple camera, and I just took an image of
Oh,
the eagle.
nice.
And that sort of caught on to me. And then in 2011, I went to we had this annual Eagle Festival, which is in a First Nation region in Harrison Mills, and that's
Oh,
where I met
okay.
David Hancock in the morning. I went very early
Oh,
in the morning, and
wow.
we had this beautiful zone there. It was full of eagles. I'd never seen anything like that, and that's where I saw David Hancock counting eagles, and that's how I got interested. And then I thought, my goodness, this man is so well known. How can I get his attention? And then I thought the only way to do this is I have to become a very good photographer, right?
Right.
So
Oh,
I
wow.
started really studying eagles in detail whenever I had free time, and doing my best to get his attention. One day, my images got his attention, and because ultimately I thought that David Hancock, I could learn so much from him about the eagles. And I was absolutely right. That was the right intuition, but I have to be very good, otherwise he will ignore me. So I put a lot of effort into these things,
That's
into
that's
that, and
amazing.
that's how I became a good friend of his. And then David took me into areas that are usually
Oh,
very difficult to get in for photographers, and so on.
wow.
And
So
that's
it
how
was a
the relationship.
collaboration in a sense. So
Yes,
you
yeah,
had a meaning and a mission for what you were doing. Well, first of all, my condolences. I too have lost my spouse in 2015, so
oh,
I
I'm sorry. I'm
understand.
sorry.
Well, I understand how life changing that can be, and of course, it can be a crisis. But it sounds like this mission, this purpose that you
Mhm.
had creatively, intellectually, everything about you as a being. There was something about doing this with the eagle, and of course, your pursuit of this passion that you have as a photographer. Um, I can understand that. I actually delved into before that happened within my life. Uh, I dabbled in the portrait art and did different kinds of art, but I think afterwards, telling people stories, connecting with other artists, and also just being able to do those portraits, have that passion again, was really life-changing. So I totally understand that connection. And I love it. You almost sound like somebody who, has like a rock hero, and you're trying to be more than just a groupie. You want to get that interview for Rolling Stone or something. I just really love that. The way that you thought, I've got to get his attention by having the best, to show what I can do, but also to do the best that I can do. So that's incredibly amazing. That's really impressive, and yet you're so humble about your craft. But anyway, we're just gonna go around here again, and this is where we're just gonna open it up and let people talk as they will, and just draw and do art. But you folks are just welcome to just talk about any subject, ask them any questions. People in the comments, I apologize if I'm ignoring you. It's been a little bit much for me to have this many people in the
No, you're
window
doing
doing
great,
this
Michelle.
awesome stuff. Yeah. So thank you. Welcome here. Karen Martin is coming from, there's a lot of people from Facebook. Karen Martin, Suzanne, we can see your comments. I apologize if you can't see ours, but that is because we are multi-streaming and multicasting from Haps out into Facebook. We can see your comments here in this app called Haps, but you probably cannot see the comments that other people are making. But I'm so glad you're here. Welcome. Hello from California, Kit Harvey. And let's see here. Oh, we got another award. Thank you so much, Megan. Yes, if you like supporting creative artists and collaboration, this is a really great app for that we can get together, we can chat like this, we could do a little show and tell. And yeah, Lindsay, you're getting the coloring in already. I haven't even started my render yet, so I'm going to switch over to my camera so that we're just less of my face and more of drawing. But
I didn't want to go too deep on the sketch because there's so many delicate, because the picture I'm doing is mostly white, right? So I didn't want to get in there super deep with the graphite, and I wanted to really get in with the colored pencil and get that color laid in, because it's gonna take some time to get all those fine little details. So I wanted to get a head start on that. And whenever I don't know if you guys know this, but whenever artists are in the zone, we tend to not talk. It's kind of like whenever you're at a meal and nobody's talking because it's so good that they would rather be focused on chewing their food. It's kind of that concept, but with art. We're just eating our creativity together. So this would be a perfect time to share stories. I love stories. Travel of your experiences, maybe some funny moments or silly moments that have happened. Anything that you can think of, some of your favorite, most cherished moments of your experiences with these birds and wildlife in general. I would love to hear any of those or all of them.
Yes, and also with live streaming, because Haps is not your first rodeo. Like I said, I remember you with the Eagle Cam. I also remember the astrophotography. But yes, please do tell. Spill the tea.
Yes.
Yeah, let's hear it, Christian. Has an eagle ever pooped on you?
Okay.
Ask anything in the comments, folks.
I'll tell you a story. You're going to be surprised. The answer is of course.
Gather round, children.
So this is what happened. Okay, I got up very early, and you really have to, if you want to get good eagle images, you have to get up very early to be prepared to go through a lot in the morning, right, in the darkness. And I would usually set myself up before sunset, which is very early in summer, as you can probably realize. And the fun part, I really love it to go near a nest if I have a possibility and watch juveniles explore, when they start branching and when they when they do their first flights. They're so wonderfully clumsy, just like a puppy. And it's it really is wonderful to watch them, how flight evolves, and that's, by the way, has a lot to do with why I love slow motion or high speed photography so much. But that's another subject. But just to answer George's question, yes. So I was standing. I said, where did that juvenile go? And suddenly it happened. I got a shower right above me, sitting there. And then I thought I brushed it away, and then I went to Starbucks to get some coffee, and everyone was staring at me.
Oh
I thought,
no.
why are they looking at me? You know? And then I went to the bathroom, looked in the mirror, and said, oh my God, my whole head, everything. So I thought, you know, oh, yes is the answer. That's what happened. Okay.
That's funny. Oh my
Wow,
god.
so really a whole shower. If you had to estimate like a volume, how much is this?
It's a lot, Georgia, and it's really acidy stuff.
Oh my gosh.
It really bites. It stains and it does everything. Geez.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Yeah.
How
Were
funny.
you telling me, Christian, about how they try to like the juveniles try to like poop outside of the nest, kind of, or like projectile, so the nest doesn't get too dirty?
Yeah. You know, that's a great point, Georgia, because they are very skilled. They understand the wind so well, so they won't poop against the wind. They really know at a very young age to poop with the wind. You know?
Nice.
and it's very
funny.
interesting, and it was interesting. The property where I was on was a very nice person who loves eagles, and he has this. That's where one of the White Rock nests are, and he would allow me to come on his property, which is fantastic because he had this beautiful eagle nest with this wonderful view on Boundary Bay, and I always admired him because no matter how far the eagle nest was from his house always got bombarded, and wow. You know, that's a lot of work cleaning it. So.
They targeted or something. You know what's really really amusing to me as well is, Lindsay, is it not true? Like, they do fit in with our group because we sometimes tend to have like really funny humorous stories, and I love that you brought us some potty humor.
Yeah, I really took down these like majestic animals. You're like, oh, they're so beautiful.
But I mean, you know, it's the reality of a photographer to find themselves in sticky situations all the time. Were there any times when you there's wildlife photographers who, of course, do grizzly bears and other dangerous situations, but were there any times that you were like almost had a close call just trying to get or capture a good photo? I'd like to hear that.
Thanks for asking. So my favorite place has to be in Alaska and Aleutian Islands. It's oh my God, I can just talk for hours about it. It's what so many people in the States don't know, how beautiful their country is outside the areas that are generally known, except for Disneyland and Grand Canyon and so on. It has, and many,
right.
I mean, there are so many beautiful areas.
We call it bush country where I'm from. Out in the bush.
Okay. And what is absolutely magnificent is the Aleutian Island. It's sort of a ring that goes from the west of Alaska, from Anchorage outwards, past Hawaii, by the way. It's west of Hawaii lies a place called Dutch Harbor, and it's one of the main fishing areas of the United States, the biggest for pollock fishing. It's the Bering Sea, and it has these very strong prevailing winds. And there's a very nice symbiosis, nice is not the word, but a very successful symbiosis between eagles and fishermen, especially during winter. So the eagles migrate there, about 700 or so, sometimes up to 1,000 on a very small area. And if you know that, it's a very good place to study eagles and also do some photos. If you always have to be respectful of eagles anyway.
Right.
Yes, but they are so used to fishermen there that they'll land right next to you. And I wasn't used to that. I remember I came with my big lens, and I'm typically, the distance to an eagle would be at least 50 to 100 feet. Sometimes incredible. I got closer, but I remember my first afternoon there, and that'll answer you, the question is, that eagle landed nearly on my lens. I couldn't believe it.
Oh, wow.
I got the wrong equipment. I remember my surprised face. I didn't have a phone or anything at that point. iPhones and so on that was my first trip. And I thought, my goodness. And then I remember my friend Jack Molan, who's a very well-known fisherman and who studied this quite a lot, who then came and he held out his hand. And as he held out his hand, um, a juvenile nearly landed on it. I couldn't believe it.
Oh,
And these are
wow.
close calls that you should never and never do that. I mean, look, I didn't even know that was possible. But
Wow.
I mean, there are many reasons why you shouldn't do that. But one reason is also you don't want to get injured because their talons are so
Right.
powerful, right?
Oh, I
But I
imagine.
remember that that's the way they behaved. They wouldn't be afraid of you, and I would call that a close call. Another thing that is very interesting is in Dutch Harbor they don't have any trees, which is really remarkable. I've never seen that
Mm.
before.
Oh,
So
is it past the tundra line, did you say?
yeah, that's
Or?
completely correct. They just that's completely correct. It's just completely flat. So as David Hancock yesterday was explaining, and I'll just repeat what he said there, is exactly for that reason. So they will nest on the cliffs, which is very different. So you can actually walk, and you should always remain, of course, at a distance, but you can walk to the cliffs. So what happens there is they put one of the nests right above the post office
Oh.
in Dutch Harbor, and during nesting season, which is about April, May, the female or so would start bombarding people at the post office. You know,
Oh my.
yeah. So they would dive bomb them to get them away, right?
Wow.
So and it's this shows you one of the one of the conflicts between humans and eagles. But never did anybody get injured. And unfortunately, I have to say, I've seen some reports of Dutch Harbor that really annoyed me because it's blown completely out of proportion as if this was very dangerous. You know, if you, with all that, I mean, if you walk close to coyote, you will know that you have to be careful. Coyotes are very intelligent. If you have a dog, keep it on a leash and so on. You adopt your behaviors. But unfortunately, I think, especially from the Aleutian Islands, there has been a lot of very distorted, distorted reports that I have seen even in the New York Times, by the way, which really disappointed me, on some very exaggerated behaviors that eagles can be dangerous just to sell. And I'm sure Georgia can say something to that extent about wildlife. So Georgia, maybe you want to say a few words on that.
Oh, I mean, yes, well, certainly we see it in bats a lot, that it's really easy to get this kind of stuff sensationalized and either just skewed, yeah, in terms of the perspective or like just absolute outright misrepresentation of the facts. But yeah, I have dealt with this kind of behavior in raptors most often as a rock climber. So I rock climb. I have some like casts on that, but the certain routes are closed certain times of the year because oh, there's peregrine falcons that nest at the top of this particular rock climbing route, and so you're not supposed to climb it during these months of the year. And some people.
Oh, did we freeze up the audio a little bit? Uh-oh.
Yeah, she may have had a dropout, but
Yeah.
maybe she'll come back. Oops, there she's gone.
There she is.
Okay.
Oh no.
It froze. Oh no.
I hope it's not her solar energy house because she's got one, but she ran out of
Oh,
power.
how cool is
So-
that? That's cool. I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. And just as you were saying that, I'm watching the video screen behind you, and there's this eagle. It looked like he was coming for your head. So
Okay,
well,
maybe in the meantime, until Georgia's back, I'll just fill in a few
Respect nature.
things. Is that if that's okay?
Yes.
I'm just going
Yes.
to put on the large screen. I'm going to try and really put this beautiful eagle here. So this is a taxidermist who has made this eagle, and this belongs to the Hancock Wildlife Foundation, actually. So
Oh, wrong one.
yeah, that's okay. So I'm allowed to have this here because it is for educational purposes. But why I'm showing you this is
so
really
big.
the real scale of an eagle, right? This is
Right.
absolute 1-to-1 scale, and you can see how large the head is, right? I can't show the talons at the moment because I would have to lift the table a bit. But I'm just going to rotate this. It's on a turntable. I'm just going to rotate this beautiful female eagle, typically about 12 to 14 pounds. and just show you. I mean, why do we love eagles so much? Well, it's just incredible how, if you look at the very pronounced white feathers, and then the very white tail feathers. I hope you can see them. They're, well, barely, of course. I'll have to lift up the table a little bit. Let me try and do that. 1 second. Just lift it up a little bit so you can
Oh,
see this.
wow. Now, just what is her typical wingspan? I know her wings are closed, but how?
Yeah, I'm lifting it
I'm
up.
fascinated with the wingspan. That's the
There you go.
picture I
So the
chose.
the wingspan is typically about 2 meters, which is just over 6.5 feet. So that's a lot, right?
Wow.
So they
That's
have
really
this
big.
beautiful large wingspan, and as you can see the talons. If I put my finger there, I don't know if you could see it. Not that I
Yeah.
would ever do this in
Oh
real
my
life,
gosh, it's
but
bigger
you
than
can
my
see how
fingers.
large. I'm 6'5", okay, and so I've got very long fingers. So if you can see that, you
Look
can
at the
appreciate,
comparison.
appreciate the size. I, so I mean, they don't really make, from a taxidermist point of view, a lot of eagles with spread out wings because you can hardly transport them.
Yeah, that'd be a challenge.
Right.
So I'll have to try and get her down a bit again if I can.
We have a question from Charles
Yeah,
Petrie.
go
He's
ahead.
asking, are they the biggest flying bird?
No, they are
I would
not. They are
have to
not.
say no, yeah.
They are not. I'm just going to put. So they are not. That's a great question. The condor is, and there are also bigger eagles. Bigger eagles than this is, for example, the wedge-tailed eagle in Australia, which I've seen, 7 foot wingspan. The Steller's eagle. That's another one. Oh, there's Georgia says, apologies, this got weird. So we know Georgia's going to be back very soon. It's okay.
Yes.
So that's the Steller's eagle's absolutely beautiful. There she is again. That's very nice.
There she is. Yay, she's back. We
I
have,
clicked on myself and somehow everyone came back.
That's fine.
And-
That's okay. We could do that. We're going back and forth. We have
And then there's the condor, of course. But now I'll be quiet and
right.
I'll hand it back to Georgia. Okay.
Well, we
Yeah.
have a
Rock
commenter.
climbing.
The Greyhawks from the park took care of my groundhog problems earlier this summer. I imagine they do a service basically in terms of I think of every kind of wildlife out there is there for doing what they have to do for a reason. They're not necessarily predators so much as wildlife managers themselves. That's just my way of thinking. Like we've always approached in the Native American tradition as being caretakers of different, like there's this idea that somehow we never touched anything and it was pristine and all of that. But then you actually see nature doing what nature does. And, it's not always pretty, but it's meaningful and has a purpose. So I just wanted to make kind of a statement about that because that's what Molly made me think of, that like they're doing their job in the ecosystem. So eagles are the
Exactly.
top 3 overall. Yes, that's what somebody else was saying. But yeah, I just wanted to make that comment. But yes,
Yeah, let's get it back to Georgia because she was talking about rock climbing. It's something I would like to know myself.
Oh,
Tell us a bit
interesting.
about
Yes.
it. Go
Talk about
ahead.
danger.
Well, and if I could, but with what you were just saying is Haast's eagle also comes to mind, right? It's extinct now, but this is I think it was maybe the biggest eagle at one time, but it was alive when humans were. It was on I think in some on New Zealand or something like that, and it's supposedly big enough that it could have eaten people.
Wow.
Really?
So it's yeah, I just looked it up because it preyed on the some of the flightless birds. So the Maori apparently have legends about this who lived with it attacking people potentially, and these eagles attacked moas, and I guess people are smaller than moas sometimes. So
Wow.
yeah, it's quite crazy.
Do you
But
know
I mean,
when-
yeah, with the go ahead.
No, when did it go extinct? Because I'm just curious.
That's
You know
curious.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think because it went, it's thought, from what I understand, I think it went extinct probably because of people, and because, this is an eagle that was really big, but, was restricted to a relatively small geographic range that, even just relatively like people who are like living with the land in a much more conscientious way and still stuff like that can still sort of easily make an animal like that go extinct on accident if you're like eating their eggs or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of one of the early cases of species going extinct because of humans. What extinction isn't because of us since we've been around? Well, that's a good question.
Good question.
Good comment, Charles.
Yeah.
Yeah, the next great extinction's humans. But yeah, I mean, with the rock climbing, it makes me a bit sad because, you would think that rock climbers are people who are out there using nature and sort of like connected with nature and stuff like that. So you think that that every rock climber, I would think, would be willing to share the cliffs with the eagles and the falcons part of the year. But it's not always the case. So
wow.
yeah, that's all I had to say about that.
And Georgia, tell us a bit about your rock climbing. I'm very curious.
Yes. So you actually go out and do rock climbing yourself? And
yes, yeah.
Cool.
So we get to have lots of interesting wildlife encounters. So actually the last time I was climbing, I think this was about a month ago, I went on a climbing trip to Arizona and we had a black hawk that was kind of flying by us. It was kind of flying up and down the valley as we were climbing and letting out its like call. It was, like a desert valley, but like there was a stream or something in the middle. And so there was like some trees and stuff. So that was really cool to see. And there was also a nesting peregrine that we didn't climb on the route that it was nesting on top of. And we climbed, we avoided the routes that were closed for the falcon and climbed, a little ways down the cliff from it. But it was still pretty upset at us and was kind of diving us a little bit and stuff like that. And so we were quite, like, oh, maybe we didn't want to press on if it was going to make the falcon too upset, but also, you want to stay concentrated on what you're doing when you're rock climbing.
I would imagine that, having something with talons and a nice sharp beak that's screeching at you, flying towards you, is not exactly helping your focus.
Yeah, I would say, err
goodness.
on the side of giving these animals more clearance than you think.
Give them
is
space.
necessary.
It's their home you're invading. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, oh my gosh. Well, I kind of do this at some point when I start seeing the progression of the art. So I'm going to do this. Let's just take a look at what Gerald. I keep saying Gerald, and I know his name is Anthony. You're just going to have to change your title there, Anthony.
Michelle, we've worked on this for months now.
I know, right? But it's like, I know.
We love you,
Wow,
Anthony.
it's beautiful.
So I'm going to unmute you there because I had you muted. I had everyone kind of muted there. Let's just unmute some people here because there was some background. So Anthony, why did you pick this picture? Because it's so incredibly amazing. But look at this beautiful work he's got going on. What are you working in colored pencils or?
Is the mute stuck again?
I think the mute is stuck because I've like muted and unmuted and it fixed the looping of the audio, but now I can't hear him at all. I'm so sorry. I don't know what's going on there. Honestly, I'm just not Pablo. And so I don't know what's happening here. I think there might be something with certain phones.
It's a sticky mute button.
But I just want to just comment on, look at the shading he's got already and the expression. He works typically very fast. Anthony here is a comic artist. He does he has his own independent comic that he does, but he does a lot of gesture drawings and very quick renders of different poses and action in flight. So I was kind of thinking that's why he chose an action pose, so to speak. So I thought that was just really brilliant. So let's see here. And I think I'm going to pick
I was curious, real quick, Christian, I've been meaning to ask you, because in this picture, the hook on the eagle's beak is really prominently displayed. So Christian, do they like pierce the fish with that hook on their beak or?
Yeah, that's a great question, Georgia. I think they use both. You know what? I have to get I can answer that question. I have a slow motion video that actually shows exactly how this is happening. So give me give me a few minutes and I'll try and get
Yes.
it. Let me find it, okay? And it'll answer
Okay.
your question. Okay. So
Yeah, we're
just
just doing
hang
a
on.
little round robin
Hang
here,
on.
so no
Yeah.
worries.
Yes.
Somebody, Anthony wants to know where Anthony lives. He lives in Texas. Kit Harvey, I believe, has asked that question. So I'm sorry, just go ahead if you want to type any kind of things you want to say in the comments, Anthony. Apologize that that's not happening for you, but this is just gorgeous. I mean, one thing I want to comment on the art side of this is you think a comic artist only does a certain kind of art, but they actually, like again, he does a lot with gestures and anatomy and, really with a very few lines to capture the essence of their subject. And look at, he doesn't even have it fully fleshed out, and I'm already seeing what I see in the photograph he's using for reference. So this is just brilliant. This is amazing work. So thank you so much, Anthony. um, let's see here. Dallas, Texas. So yeah, not sure why your audio isn't working, but we appreciate having you here. So let's see here. Brenda, I think I'm gonna pick on you next.
That's okay.
You don't look muted, so we'll be fine.
I've been just chilling, pretty quiet.
There we go. There we go.
Like Lindsay says, it's when an artist starts working, they kind of go off into a la la land, and that's kind of where I am right now.
Oh no, that's a nice strong line. Well, I'm literally just fleshing out my. It's really hard for me to talk and draw at the same time, as you guys all know. But I'm liking what you have here, what you've got fleshed out. So.
Well, I'm going to add some color pencils to it. I just don't have them right here with me, but I'm just kind of getting some dark sketching in there, and then going to highlight it with some brown and some golds and things. So when it's finished, I'll post it.
Okay, so you're actually not going to use watercolor. You're going to use color pencil.
Not watercolor on this, Michelle. Sorry.
Wow. No, I'm just kidding. No, I think when I think of you as a watercolor artist. But of course, she's an art teacher. So like, hey, I'm gonna like throw that out like I did initially. Like, if you were to do a lesson, and let's say you said to your class, we're going to do the eagle today. Like, how would you approach that as a teacher in terms of maybe introducing the subject matter that you're drawing, or in an art sense? Like, how do you see this?
I have to correct you. I'm not an art teacher, Michelle.
Oh, I don't know why I thought that you said that you were an art teacher.
No.
You don't teach art? You teach me a lot. Oh, what happened to her audio? What is happening?
Did she freeze too?
I think there's something happening with the audio.
No.
Not sure what's happening. We'll never know. She just corrected me. I really thought she was an art teacher. Am I like wrong about that? I think I am. I think she's talked about teaching, but maybe she doesn't teach art per se. It's just one of the many subjects. So we just dropped her out. Let's just all right, Lindsay, I guess you're it.
Oh, I'm it?
You're it.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
We're just having a half stay. Oh my gosh. So you're not using your Ohuhus, are you? Your markers?
No. I'm using the Polychromos, the Faber-Castell color pencils. They are so nice to work with, and it's wonderful to practice blending with them. They get all the details and the colors, make them look all pretty when they come together. I am just loving this bird even more the more I study it and map out. It's thanks, Kit. That's so sweet of you to say. Yeah, I'm really, we're starting to become best friends right now. I feel like this is building a friendship. I'm building a friendship with the eagle through my artwork and through Dr. Sasse's photography. And so I know I can kind of like relate with him on his passion, and like he almost feels like you probably feel like you have like a relationship with some of these birds the more you watch them and the more you get to know the family, if you will. Watching those birds grow up, as you were talking about, enjoying to watch the younger birds as they develop, and they probably have some toddler-esque tendencies and behaviors, fighting over their toys and food and whatnot. But because I think I remember seeing that there was some kind of eagle toy, like a dog toy almost, kind of chew toy that was in a
Oh
nest
my
somewhere.
gosh. Oh,
I
how
want to hear
cute.
more about that.
Right? Right? Yeah, let's just bring everybody back in. Sorry, Brenda is probably dropping out and coming back in to see what's happening there. I think
Yeah.
she'll be joining us, but yeah. What is where was this at that you saw that picture, or where was
Oh,
this
I
at?
I deep dived on his Instagram, so I saw like
Oh, okay,
your
okay.
entire history. I went to the very end. I saw all the things. It was great.
How are we doing audio wise? Is everybody okay?
I can't hear.
I can't hear anyone except
I
you,
hear you
Lindsay.
and I hear me.
I know, right? And
It was a
not
teddy
really
bear. I thought it was like a stuffed eagle.
Yes, yes.
there he is.
Yeah.
There he is.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Sorry, I'm still looking for to answer George's question, but
Oh, okay.
I'm getting
Oh,
closer.
okay.
But I can quickly talk about that.
Yes.
Well, that's a bit funny because that's again an adventure I had with the captain of the fisherman boat, Jack Molan, who knows the Aleutian Islands so well. Without him, I would have never been able
Oh,
to
nice.
take the images I took because he just has such in-depth knowledge. But we had just as a we had this wonderful little eagle as a symbol in our car to inspire us, right? Where the whole day, as we went from one area to the next, trying to explore and photograph eagles on the beach or wherever, right? So one day, Jack says, you know what? Let's try something. Let's try and put the toy eagle out there. Let's see what they do. So we did. And we did, and that's another video that's on my list. I should show it to you. And yes, lo and behold, the juvenile came and was very curious. Why is this little one so little? And so it started pecking at it, and it's interesting playing a bit with it. So that's where that photo came from. Yeah.
That's so cool.
So. But you're absolutely right. They do take them to the nest. There are there in White Rock and many other nests. There are a lot of stuffed. Sorry, I'm just gonna shut my phone off. Sorry about this.
No worries. No worries.
I have to mute myself. Oh, I can't always do that. 1 second. I'm just gonna mute myself, and I'll be right back. So.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I like what for some reason like the wingspan is a photo image that I really was attracted to, and I think it's typical Native American art. To be honest with you, I think I picked it because it's typically artwork that I've seen with the big span that we recognize the eagle in that way because there's just you ever you're always out looking and sometimes you're like, oh, is that an eagle? Because if you're at a powwow or some kind of ceremony and you have an eagle sighting, for a lot of people that's like a sign of something good. And so but the way to recognize that eagle that's far away is with the wingspan, because sometimes it's just a buzzard and you're not seeing like there's just it's funny that when we're at a ceremony, we're at a gathering, and we see that a lot of elders especially will take it as like we sent our prayers out and now the prayers are coming back. But we just take it as a sign of humor when we go, oh, that's not an eagle, that's something else. Oops, misread that one. And so it's just kind of a joke and it's kind of funny. But like I think like when I think of like again the wingspan out, it's just incredible to see something that beautiful. I moved to Cleveland. I'm right on Lake Erie, overlooking Lake Erie. Now, being from up north, eagles are a little bit more around, and I didn't expect to see eagles in Cleveland. Ever since I moved here, there's not only an eagle, there's two eagles. There's a younger one and an older one, and they've come so close to our balcony. It's just almost, I'm like, I almost don't believe it. But yeah,
Really?
definitely saw
That's
the
cool.
wingspan, definitely saw the white head. And to me, that's like, wow, it's a good sign I'm living in a good place, because if you don't see an eagle, it's a sign, I would think, maybe nature is hurting, it's not able to support their life. So I think I grew up in the 70s where, like you said, it was we talked about the endangerment a little bit, but I think also there's been so much ecology and activism and environmentalism, to protect what we have, like with bees and other species, that people are now, the mindset has changed. People are thinking about cleaner water and protecting the water and all the other things that support wildlife.
Right.
So that symbiotic thing that you're talking about with the salmon fishing really hits home. Protecting the water is so important for so many species. But to see an eagle flying around where you live is a sign of like a good health in the land. That's just my thoughts on that. Why I picked this image. Did you happen to find that image that you're looking for?
Ooh, Michelle.
I'm almost there. I'm sorry I'm taking so
That's fine.
long
That's fine.
because,
Yes.
gosh, I never thought that this question, you get prepared.
Oh, yeah.
But
I know how you feel.
Michelle, I actually hear Anthony, so I want to hear from his own mouth his
Yes,
experience,
yay.
since we've been having so much trouble with his tech
Anthony,
right now.
it's your turn. It's your turn.
Okay.
Yes, yay. Your beautiful voice.
Huh?
So
All
glad
right.
to hear. Yay.
Okay. So my experience with Eagles is, kind of grew up in the '80s, kind of watching a lot of nature shows like Wild America. That's
Nice.
kind of how.
Oh, I
Yeah.
remember that.
Mutual of Omaha's Wild. Whatever. No, I'm thinking Mutual. They had Wild America. Was that on PBS? I'm trying to think what
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The one with Marty Stauffer.
Yeah, that is Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. That's the one I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Yeah, and so I always remember whenever I see kind of eagles, they'll always be either fishing, putting dive bombing the river for salmon, or kind of in the winter.
Mm-hmm.
And we got eagles here in Dallas, kind of like the last decade.
Oh, yeah.
I would see them in the driving down the highway, and they just look like these huge giant shadows just kind of floating in the air.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, impressive. Yeah, and then you picked one. The picture you picked happens to be in the snow. That's interesting. Or like you can see the snowflakes. I mean, like on his beak, there's like a little bead of like frost or something, or snow built up.
Anthony, what made you pick that picture?
Yeah, exactly.
What spoke to you?
Oh, I think it's kind of like it's kind of like the winter scene, and this kind of reminded me of those different documents about kind of the wildness, especially from.
Sorry, guys, something got clicked, and I don't know how that happened.
Did you break something again?
That was the. I didn't touch anything. I was literally not touching anything. Something
all right, carry on.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, poor Anthony. Oh, I did not do anything. Honestly, my hands were way away from it.
But it always reminds me of the whenever I do kind of the documentaries were kind of focused around the wintertime, just kind of the harshness, kind of the harshness of that time for animals in general.
Yeah, survival. Interesting. Well, that's a beautiful piece that you're working on, and again, you picked colored pencils. Is that what you're working with there?
Yeah, I was working with markers.
Oh, those are markers.
He is doing markers. Nice.
Nice blends on that. That's just gorgeous.
Well, that's pretty.
It's very pretty.
Michelle, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yay! You're back. Your audio is back.
I had some technical difficulties.
I don't know what's happening, folks, but I'm not even pushing buttons, and literally something went off. So
I think we have all of the clowns crammed in the clown car, and so we're struggling to steer the ship.
Maybe it's all ghosts. I don't know. The ghosts.
Oh my gosh!
The Haps ghost now, but it looks like he found the photo. If anyone remembers him, but okay. Yes, I think he's referring to Lauren Green had a wildlife show in Canada in the 80s. I do remember that he was the host of a show.
Yes.
Oh, Lauren Green, yeah.
I
Mhm.
think Christian found the video, and we also
Yay.
Georgia had
Yes,
a
I did.
question
And
too.
Georgia, yeah, before she bombards me with the next question, let me first answer so I get a chance to breathe. No, it's
Yeah,
all good.
this question first. So as a reminder, because it was so long ago, the question was about what that, why their beak is so hooked like that. I mean, lots of raptors have a hooked beak,
Yes.
Right.
but they've really got like a stabber there. And I was asking about, what's the purpose of that? And Christian has found the answer, the video
Oh,
answer.
nice.
Nice. So that's a
Cool.
nice setup.
Okay, I just
So
want to say, can you see the image of the eagle now? I'm not
let's
quite
make
sure.
you the takeover. Let's try that so that
Okay.
we can all see it.
Okay. one
Thank you
sec.
for the Creative Genius Award. Yes, that was Pa Cartwright, Lauren Green. When do you guys know when to walk away, not to overwork your drawing? We'll answer that question, Karen, in a
Okay.
bit.
Okay, 1 sec. I'm gonna. Okay. You should be able to see. This is
There
a
we
very
go.
unusual one where an eagle is actually feeding on a sand shark. Really a
Ooh.
very rare
Ooh,
Wow.
footage. I
Cool.
think I'm the only one who has this type of footage. So
wow.
that's taken from quite a distance, but you can see the so what the eagles do is they go for the gills first. It's not the slow motion video I was looking for, but it's so unique well, it's something you see very rare, but you can see their behavior, and I think I have it on there. How they, so just to answer what they do with their beaks, you see how they use their beaks and their talons to really rip.
That's good.
So maybe that answers the question much better of how they
Yeah.
interact. That's a juvenile, by the way, there, and you look how
What?
powerful
Yeah,
they
it's
Oh,
can.
he's so big.
Look how powerful the tear.
It's
The
like they
whole
bite and
shark.
drag it, but
They
that
can
hook
drag the
just
whole
stays
shark.
in and tears it
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, so that's quite incredible. So I'm
That's
gonna
That's
amazing.
cool.
go back now. Let me just go back to the where are we? To this one here. Yeah. Go back there. Okay.
Wow. In terms of, I'm a chef, and there's certain kinds of, knives, and there's one that's good for like basically butchering
Can I show you
taking the
another
skin
clip?
off. That's what that reminds me of. It takes the skin off.
Yes.
Can I show you another very unique clip that is really quite something? Let me see. I just have so many screens open. I just have to see where I am there. Yes. Okay. Let me jump back to this screen. So what you're going to, let me just put it on silent for one moment so it doesn't. So this was very unique. This is a female hanging upside down in a tree. That's the eagle foot that you see. Oh, wait a minute. You can't see this at the moment. I'm sorry. I don't
Oh,
have
it's
it.
okay. It's okay.
Okay, here you go. So
Oh, there we go.
hanging
Oh.
upside down with a duck. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
That
Oh
is
wow.
absolutely, and
Oh.
she was chased by other eagles, and this is what because eagles are scavengers, right? So she's
Mhm.
completely exhausted, hanging on one foot.
Yeah.
I'll just show it from the beginning again.
That's incredible.
So there you go. There's the eagle foot, hanging upside down on a tree, hiding from other eagles. It's just
And
well,
just having a moment of pause, trying to
Yes.
like catch their breath, and look at that.
yes.
How strong they are to do that with one.
Yeah, and I couldn't catch the moment where she was chased because I was so taken aback, but I did get this footage actually. So
Wow.
it shows you
That's
how
so cool.
it's quite something. So yeah.
They're
Yeah, that's
definitely
amazing
special.
footage and so unique. I never would have imagined an eagle doing
Yeah.
so many of the things it's doing right there in that video.
And he's definitely got his eye on everything. So
So it is rather unique. So yeah, I have a few such clips that are yeah.
Oh, go ahead. By all means, show them.
They're quite special. I mean, I can show you one of the slow motion videos if you're interested.
Yes.
I will show.
Definitely. Yes, please.
Let me see if which one it is. Let me just see if it's this one here. Yes, this is it. Okay, let me get
okay.
out of the way completely. 1 second there. Okay, so what is you? Let me just try and start again. So this is a juvenile, and this is in slow motion. It takes about 1 second in real time, and I didn't even know I had this footage because it's so unique. But this was taken with a high-speed camera,
Ooh.
and it was complete accidental that I actually got it. But what the it's quite simple with eagles. The one who comes from above rules the world, right? So
Right.
what
Oh, I
happened
like that.
here? I'll try. So all this happens so quickly. Usually, eagles are just they call this disputes, right? It's just a hierarchy game, and
Mm.
they really have to be aware. Their talons are quite fierce. I'm just going to try and see if I can get this footage in again. 1 second. Um, from the beginning, if I can. Let
That's
me just
cool.
It is very
see
cool.
how to do that. But you can see they quickly recover. It all happens in about a second. I just have to see.
Really?
Yes, it's. I mean, this is taken at 1,000 frames per second. You wouldn't even.
Oh
I
my
didn't
God.
even know I had this because it happened so quickly. One
I'm
second. I'm going to
sure.
try and
Wow.
jump backwards and forwards. No, I
That's
don't.
incredible.
Hmm.
It is. I just have to wait a second till it spools
Well,
back
this
again.
reminds me, the movement that we're seeing here,
Yeah.
um, this is a prominent dance that comes more from the Plains Indians, although I think a lot of folks have, in different tribal cultures and different areas of the North American tribal communities, there's this dance called the Eagle Dance, and it literally reminds
Mhm.
me of that sort of that gesture that we tell stories in our dance, and this is one of the stories, is enacting and being the eagle in a sense. So this is really incredible to see that slow down
Yeah, yeah.
again, the
Here you can see
movements. Oh
how an eagle
wow.
takes off with a
Oh
with a
wow,
sun, and
that's so cool.
this is like a 1 in a million shot that you get.
How did you get this?
Well,
This is just,
this is
oh,
complete luck. Well, it's just
I
lucky.
love your reaction so much, Michelle.
I'm so sorry,
That
but I
just
mean, I'm
made
just
my day.
like,
That's
oh
awesome, though.
wow. I've got chills, you guys. I mean, this is just
That's
amazing.
awesome.
That video went completely viral with 17 million hits because
Oh, I can see why. Yeah.
it's very unique, and it's very lucky too. I mean, you don't often get a chance like this.
That's
It's
just so gorgeous.
everything has to be right, the focus and everything. It's just.
This is
I mean, this happens in a
beneficial. I'm sure this work that you do is beneficial for so many scientists and other folks that
Yeah.
study these
Well,
things.
actually, a lot of cartoon people and animators have approached me because
I imagine. I can
Yeah.
see why.
It's difficult to
because it's very difficult to
Replicate.
even to draw cartoons of eagles. I wouldn't even know how to do that, but they as you can imagine, this footage is really interesting for them because
Well,
it's
like for someone who
Yep.
does gestures, like right there where he does that, like you don't see that,
no.
you don't think of that. You just think, most people have like this idea, like your hands, like when you're, a kid pretending to fly, with your hands, that they just go up and down, but they really is a complex motion
and
built on their
this is
anatomy. Oh my
this is
gosh, that's
also
incredible.
typical. I think this does some maneuver. I got so many of these.
Uh-huh.
Um, quite lucky. I'm not quite sure what happened here. I just have to see why I took this. I'm not sure.
Yes, animators do like to study the real thing, of course, to be
Oh yeah.
yeah, big, that's
Oh yeah,
animation is
here it
incredible.
comes in. It just does this beautiful maneuver, and this
Oh,
takes all split of a second. You can see how incredibly maneuverable they are in wind. It's just beautiful how they dance in air.
Wow.
now, did I just see that correctly? Did he like literally
Yes,
use his leg to
yeah,
steer himself?
yeah. And it goes
Wow, I
so
did not know
fast
that.
you cannot catch that. It's. Let me see what else I have. I've some. Oh, this is just so you can see how quickly they move. So that is a beautiful scene where there's a dock worker doing some dock repairs, and uh, and right next
Wow.
to the eagles, those are two juveniles sitting there, and I can't remember what happens in this clip. Let me just see. But it goes. It's so. I mean, it's super slow motion, right? I mean, you can't even see the dock worker. There's an eagle flying in the background, and you just have to be a little bit patient here because I think it takes off or so. But you can see how quick their motions are compared to ours. The dock
Mhm.
work is not. Yeah, here, look at the takeoff and watch the man behind. Then you can appreciate. He's not even moving, right? This is just a split of a second,
Wow.
and it just gives you some realistic view of how fast they are, right?
Wow, they're
I
so
think
familiar with him. I bet you they know his first name. I mean,
They probably do.
hey Fred, how you doing today? How's the kids?
Hey,
here,
Jim.
like just lots of wings that you usually see. You can't make out anything without a high-speed camera.
Oh no, you want to talk about the technical side of the
Yes,
photography? I
Yeah.
don't think we've touched on that at all.
yeah.
And I
If
know
you
a
look,
lot of artists are really like I know portrait
okay,
artists. We don't have
I'll
the
show
same
you how.
equipment at all.
Let me unpack my equipment. If this is not going to bore you, I will do
Oh
that.
no, it's not going to bore us. But I just want to let anybody who's mindful of the time. I know some people have to come and go as they
Okay.
will. We are going to be live for a while, mainly because I feel like some of us are just getting started on our art. We want to complete or do as much
Okay,
as we
there you
can. But
go.
it is 6:39
Wow.
Eastern
Look at
Standard
that.
Time.
This is an 800
Check this out.
millimeter. This is the
Looks
main.
like a caveman club there.
This is the Canada.
Goodness.
I like that you have all
Wow.
the what do you call it? The
The
camouflage.
camouflage.
camo. Yeah, the camo on it.
That's
It-
One
cool.
second.
Is that just like a skin that you put on it,
Yes,
or?
one second. I just have to try and get this
Ooh,
off because for some reason
that's a hoss of a
it's on
lens,
there.
man.
But that's about the real size with the camera. So it's
Oh
quite heavy.
my
I just
gosh.
can't get the top off for some reason at the moment. I don't know why it's
I
stuck.
bet you that lens alone you could buy a house with.
Yep, there you go.
That's what you call a lens. Yeah.
Wow. So this is
Okay,
definitely a passion.
let me put the
It's an expensive passion, but
It's very
obviously
expensive. I
passion.
saved for years on this, but if you want to do, you see, that's how it really looks. If you want to do wildlife photography and not disturb animals, which is very
Mm.
important for me, that's the
Yes.
type of equipment you will need. And yeah, so that's one lens, but that's not my high speed. For high speed, I use a different one. I'll just show it to you. So that's what I used in Dutch Harbor to do all these things. Let's see if I can get this one out. And this is a special developed camera for that purpose. And it's actually quite small. That's it. So this is the high-speed camera that takes 2,000, 1,000, 2,000 and whatever frames per second. The difficulty you have with this camera is you have to do everything manual. Okay,
Yeah.
there's no automatic here. That's why this eagle sequence that I was able to take is so unique,
It's
because
unique. Yeah.
your focus, everything has to be right, So I just see it back there, and when the sun is strong, you don't see anything. So you just hold it there and hope for the best.
I imagine. So yeah, so half the time you don't even know if you've got what you got,
No,
basically, until
I have
after
no
you
idea.
get
And then
home.
when you go back in the evening to where your lodges or so, you just sit there and you pray, I hope I got something.
Well, now, how often, when you go to an area like this, how often do you go out? Like every day? Obviously you said that you go
Yes,
sometimes
yes.
super
Every day
early in the
from morning
morning.
till evening. And
Wow.
the videos I got there, the best ones, I think you can get one of these in 3 years. It's just, I mean, it's such a rare. You have to be lucky too. You have to be incredibly patient. You have to go with prevailing winds. Often you stand in the snow. It's just icy winds. The conditions are often terrible.
Oh,
And
I
the worse
imagine.
the conditions are, the better the eagles perform. It's just incredible. And the worse it is for you, right? So
Now, one thing we haven't touched on, I mean, like I said, this is like an incredible symbiotic environment. Like, this is very rare to have this many eagles together. Am I right
yes,
about that? Okay.
yes,
Yeah.
and close up like that is very difficult to get. I think I've only measured in Aleutian Islands, nothing like that here, because it's just so unique. They've been published in National Geographic. I'll show you how eagles typically behave in the background there. So this is eagles raiding a ship in Dutch Harbor. So what happened there is that they forgot to secure the fish, and I can tell you,
Oh,
the
Oh,
so this is a feast for eagles, and they love it, right? So They take
They're
over
like,
the ship,
thanks.
and by the time they come back from dinner, there's nothing left.
This is like it's a Walmart or something, you know, like,
And
hey.
I've seen it myself. You put 200 pounds of fish out, it's gone in 5 minutes. I'm not joking.
Oh, I imagine.
Wow.
It's
Like you're talking
incredible,
about the
you know?
speed it would took for them to just swallow
So
one
that's why they
whole.
love going there. So
Just smorgasbord.
Christian, I have to say that this footage is not really justifying the bounty, the lack of bounty on the eagle. It's becoming more understandable why people saw them as such a well, the Fisher people saw these as such
that's
a problem.
correct.
Yeah.
Very good point. Very good point. That's exactly a great point. That's how
right.
people
Like people aren't.
misinterpret them. Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
people aren't necessarily evil in their intent to like, oh, it's wildlife, let's kill it. It's like, you know, that didn't come out of nowhere. So, but at the same time, it's like any relationship. Like again, you know.
Yeah, we've gathered all this fish, this massive fish in one place, which is
That's
not a
exactly
natural
right.
thing for it to be all just
There
sitting
you
out on a
go.
boat like this.
Yeah, the
Yeah, and the
things that
eagles
we
will
do.
come, you know.
And
So-
and you're absolutely right, Georgia. Of course, when it's such a great point, because I think fishing is still tough, but I think it used to be much tougher because they wouldn't have they would do everything by hands, right? They would have no motors or anything, and then they really saw it as a threat, right? So
well, just some of the research that you folks do and some of the work like this that you're showing, not just that this is a graceful and beautiful animal, but it's educating us into realizing, hey, you know what, when fisheries and things like this started, it wasn't with the idea of, oh, let's make sure you know, we check this thing out with the rest of nature and how we fit in that picture. It wasn't even a conversation, and now it is. So I think that's really
Oh wow,
interesting.
look at those talons.
Oh my gosh, that is
Oh, that's
so
amazing.
cool.
And eagles, they stay in the same spot all year, right? They don't migrate?
no, they migrate a
They
lot.
do.
In fact,
Okay.
we have.
Oh,
That's
okay.
very important to know.
That's a good question.
In fact, in British Columbia, as David Hancock was pointing out yesterday, we have the largest migration of eagles in January, February. It's incredible what comes through here. You're talking about 100,000 eagles or so. It's absolutely amazing. So that's for me, it was always the question: how do they know where to fly, and how do they know to come on this route, and so on? And actually, what David Hancock is doing is very interesting. He's putting trackers on the eagles to understand their migratory paths much better, right? It's
right.
They've done it a lot with penguins and so on, but and I'm sure Georgia knows quite a lot about the tracking of wildlife. But with eagles, it's fairly new, right, to do that.
Well, if Canada's missing any of their geese, I know where a few are.
Okay.
Nothing like walking in the park and
nothing like going into Kohl's and being attacked because, you know, I just want to buy a shirt, you know.
Oh my gosh, right? Yeah.
Or stop traffic.
Oh, I'm
so
just
they
thinking
can
more about
walk.
like you can't take
Sorry,
your shoes off
wrong
in
bird.
certain you can't take your shoes off in certain beaches around Lake Superior for
Oh,
that reason. So there we are back with the poop jokes. But we've got somebody saying let's make an animated short starring eagles. Well, now what have you done with this videography? I mean, I'm just kind of curious, like who uses your work or where you publish your work. I'm really interested in this.
Well, National Geographic actually took quite a lot from it.
Yay.
So
Wow.
that's been
I can see why.
that's been there, but I really just do it, you know, because I'm interested in eagles. There's no commercial purpose that I have for this, other than you know, for educational purposes. I just found that whilst there are a lot of photographers, I found there's a niche for showing the beauty of eagles as they fly, the dynamic behavior of landing, and I've got so many of them. The whole sequence of the way they land is very complex, actually.
Right.
It's I don't have the video here, but I just find it interesting to study these things and to publish them, you know, just for general knowledge, really, for educational purposes. So.
Okay.
Christian, can I tack on a question to that? So
sure.
we had maybe you asked you addressed this, you know, when I bounced offline earlier, but a ways back, Jeremy Stoltz asked, what was your inspiration for reaching out to the art community here? And also a little bit
good
earlier,
question.
you mentioned that cartoonists were very interested in this slow motion video. So have you had like, could you answer both of those? Have you had previous sort of collaborations with artists, and did it lead to this this reaching out here?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thanks, Georgia. Not as a live stream, but with a musician, I've done something. That's how, you know, it's funny. Periscope actually. Uh, I don't know if you know Periscope. Many might not know that, but that's where I started live streaming before. I was looking for collaboration, and Periscope did not have a platform. And I went to Periscope in San Francisco, actually into their office, and I said, "Guys, um, I I managed at that time to get a collaboration with a musician who was in New York, and I sort of managed to do it myself with technology. What you could now do with the nice collaboration, but I showed it to them, and they said they were so impressed. They said, "We're going to make that into a platform," and that's how this whole thing actually
Oh
evolved.
my
Oh,
So
gosh, are you serious?
I'm proud of that.
yay.
Yes, it's amazing.
So I brought the other artists into my live stream and rebroadcast that, which was inherently
Nice.
complex to do, inherent really. And now
Yeah,
we
It's
have this wonderful
amazing.
platform.
Yeah, this
So
is so much more simple and more intuitive, of course.
yeah, so what Pablo and Peter have done, of course, is absolutely remarkable here, because they are now giving, which is so much better than what we had in Periscope, is opening it to all. But yes, I have offline, Georgia, have had collaborations with cartoonists and even Disney films and so on. They've come. I'm not allowed to show what film is it because they are so secretive about everything. But yeah, they have actually used
The mouse is
some
always
of my
watching.
stuff. Yeah.
Yes,
Yep.
exactly. Well, that is a good question. I know we asked them the same question, might have been pre-live, but thank you for picking up on that, Georgia, and thank you, Jeremy, for asking that question. Yes, we were in Jeremy Stoltz's broadcast, and you popped in and said, "Hey, you guys want to draw some eagles?" And we just were like, "Yes, please." So it was pretty much a no-brainer. And again, I think I mentioned this maybe again, excuse me, pre-live, but for the collaboration format that we have here of HAPS, where we can bring all these people in the windows. Granted, I do not have a broadcasting kind of, you know, skill of any kind other than that I too was on Periscope. I think I've got everybody's windows back in here. But that's really blown my mind since I joined this app to be able to collaborate with
I
other
agree.
creatives, and it's taken my broadcasting to another level. And just you asking that simple question has made my idea mind go, "Ooh, who else can we collaborate with?" Again, I would love to see you again, Georgia. I would love, love, love for us to talk about bats. We have music. We have music. That's okay. We had the UFO music earlier from so I have this, well, they have all these things stored over what people can't see when we're trying to click on these windows and we're bringing these images. We have a little stash over here of uploaded stuff that we can keep in kind of like a cloud. So apparently I have this UFO soundtrack that was also activated by accident, but if you want to do something for
Sorry about
real,
that. That was
we can
unintentional.
actually, yeah, we can bring back any photo. I love that we have all of these photos now. I'm going to, at the end of this, when people have their artworks finished and give them plenty of time, I mean, we're going to be probably in other people's broadcasts without in the next few days so that we can finish up our art pieces, or those who couldn't join us at this time. We'll pair up their finished product with the reference photo that you were so kind enough to allow us to be inspired by.
Really, no
we'll
problem.
we'll have a bunch of photos together.
Look, and then people often ask me, can they, can they use my artwork? Just ask me, please. And
Right.
I'm really generous about it. I have no problems. Where I unfortunately have a lot of problems, I might as well say that, with people stealing my stuff from YouTube, then I really don't appreciate it, because they resell my stuff, and I have that on a daily basis now. And there I get quite there. I they write to me, hey, yes, can I? I got a strike now. Can you please take it away? And the answer is no, I don't, because these people deserve it. So if you just ask, please, and you'll get it. There's no reason for stealing it. I'm very generous, but I don't like stealing. So that's my point of view.
And I, as a portrait artist, I mean, for those who are just starting out, sometimes artists on Instagram go, "Oh, I like that image," and then they just try to use it. But if you're like most of these folks, you've obviously seen us broadcast, you've seen what we can do, and most of us are pretty savvy in the art
You
of
are absolutely
permission. So I
it's
know
not
that
a
for
problem.
a fact, yeah, for a
It's not
fact,
a problem.
you really can. I mean, photography, in terms of an art form, is copyrighted material that belongs to another artist.
Correct.
So to just nilly-willy use anything, that's why they have stock photography. We could get stock photography, but
Yeah,
this
but
is way more
no.
incredible, way more interesting, way more animated, and definitely beautiful, one of a kind opportunity. I am just so thrilled, obviously.
And look, it's an absolute honor for me and a pleasure and privilege to share this with you, really. And as I
yeah.
said, any just knock on my door, and whatever images you need, just let me know. That's
I
fine.
love it. No,
So,
I know you're not prepared for this, but we mentioned it a few times. Astrophotography. What is it, and what else do you take pictures of?
okay, then it goes to the universe, but we can talk
Right.
about another time. I love astrophotography.
Of course. So that
teaching
is something in the future. There are a lot of artists who love to paint and draw the galaxy and the cosmos, and so that's another. I think what I remember is that you did some kind of time lapse of the sky, which
Yeah.
showed the way the stars moved, and it was just incredible and beautiful, and it inspired a painting actually. I have chromesthesia, and I listened to I guess it was like Radiohead or something, and
Radiohead.
it had a similar light quality as to your moving photography. So I remember seeing that piece on a Periscope that you did, and
Oh,
then
thank
listening
you.
to this song, Everything in Its Right Place, and I could literally, they almost seem like the same image. So I tried to paint this abstract image of sky and light just as an exercise, and it did start from the inspiration from your photography. So you're very inspiring to us today. And again, there's other future collaborations that could take place, but I don't want to keep you hostage here since it's 6:55. We started around 5ish.
That's
But
okay. Thank
the
you.
artists, you're welcome to stay. You're welcome to keep going, to come and go as you please. But if you have somewhere to go, just let us know. And again, Jeremy Stoltz is live at 9 o'clock, and he was more than happy to let us do Eagle Art 2.0 because again, he's picked a picture as well, and he goes live every night at 9 p.m. Also, another great collaborator. So we don't have to necessarily do this in my channel. We can do it in Lindsay's channel. We can do this in Brenda's. We could do this in Anthony's. But I just really appreciate you all being here, and thank you so much, Georgia, for everything. I seriously am going like, oh, she has bats. She has pictures of bats. I'm so excited. I really do. My thoughts are about bats are they're just so useful and so misunderstood. So you want to make any little comment or anything about that before you go? I would love to hear more about that for a potential future collaboration that we could do as artists and all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it would be, there's a lot of actually really beautiful species of bats, I think, of different colors and very different facial shapes and things like that. So absolutely, I'd love to do a collaboration with bats. And as you mentioned, they're very misunderstood. So it'd be a great opportunity to talk about some of the benefits and correct some of the misunderstandings. But speaking of misunderstood bats, I have to tell you that on Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern time, Christian and I are actually doing a HAPS takeover on, and the topic is vampire
awesome.
bats.
Oh,
Some
yes.
of the most misunderstood bats that there are. Yeah.
I was going to say, there we go. Vampire bats are the number one. Why are they named vampire bats? Right there, it almost sounds scary.
Georgia,
You'll have to tune in to find out.
Yeah. I'm going to say my guess, which is I think that the myth of vampires were actually created after vampire bats. So the sort of like like vampire bats obviously came first, and then as people were learning about them and stuff, they kind of came up with these like mythical creatures called vampires. But we're going to have with us as our guest Dr. Jerry Carter, who studies vampire bats, and he has a lot of videos of them.
Nice.
Not quite the beautiful slow motion videos of them in the wild like Christian was sharing of the eagles, but a lot of interesting videos that I think will teach you a lot about, you know, like what is it like to be a vampire bat? So kind of like the vampires of myth. They're actually very social groups. They have like kind of their quote unquote clans and their friend groups and stuff like that. So he has a lot of interesting videos of their behaviors that I think will make people feel a lot more empathetic towards vampire bats.
Oh, Brenda is telling us in the comments that the Columbus Zoo, this is in Ohio, has an amazing selection of fox bats. Ooh, makes me want to come down and visit you in Columbus. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again for being here. And yes, we're gonna. Don't mind me if we hit you up for another collaborative broadcast with artists. I think that would be lovely. But yes, stay tuned. Next week, Hats Takeover. It's gonna be the wildlife show, so to speak. So I am really
Make
excited
sure
about
everybody's
that.
following so that you don't miss
Yes,
out on
yes,
all the
yes.
good things.
Yes. So
yeah,
again,
that'll
I don't
be
wanna,
Wednesday at 1 Pacific time, 4 Eastern time, and I don't have the link yet, but it'll be on me and Christian's profile if you follow
there we
either of us on
go.
Taps
Yep,
or
we'll get the
Christian on YouTube.
notification. So
Yeah.
if you don't get the notification, it's your own fault.
Yeah.
I'm definitely happy to meet you and to have you in my broadcast and to in our broadcast. Really, this feels like it's not my broadcast, but it belongs to everyone. That's how I feel about community and collaboration. But we're going to take a little round robin. I apologize. My art is just literally just a line. I was trying to separate the
It's
fan of the.
difficult being a host and artist at the same
It
time.
kind of is, but I do want to ask about the before we can just do this. Like, you know, I'm not embarrassed or
Okay.
anything. I just feel like, oh gosh, I've got a few hours worth of work to do. But let's just let me ask you while I do this. Does their wing? Why does their wing, not the wings, right? The tail feather fan out like that? I mean, it sounds like it would be obvious, but that's pretty fascinating to me. I don't think I know of too many birds that their feathers are out quite like that. But what is it? Is it like aerodynamics? Is it
Yes,
something?
yes, it's for steering actually. So they have 12 tail feathers. They have 10 primary feathers. You can see the primary feathers spread out beautifully on this image. The primary feather, you start counting inwards to outward. I know it's a bit complicated. The secondary feathers, so 10 primary feathers, 10 secondary feathers, and 12 tail feathers that you see. And the tail feathers are very important for steering, fast control of direction. And also, of course, when they land, they need a lot of resistance to land. And also when they take off, you'll find that that the tail feathers go in rhythm with the wings. You can see that in some of the slow motion videos. Now you may ask me, can an eagle fly without tail feathers? The answer is yes. I've seen it. I've actually seen an eagle without tail feathers, and they can, and they really adapt very well. It's just surprising. So, but it becomes a lot more difficult.
One thing I wanted to show, if I can get myself, oops, I gotta undo that part. Let's just, oops, there we go. Oh, let me do this real quick. The eagle feather that I have, again, was given to me in a ceremony. I did not get this from an animal
That's
itself.
beautiful. That's beautiful.
Actually, there you can see up close here. There's two breast feathers together as one. I am a twin. And also, it represents not just that I'm a twin, it represents also that I'm a mother. And this one was given to me when my son and I was in labor with my son, and we were both at risk and had an emergency C-section. His heartbeat was failing, and then my blood pressure dropped, and next thing I know, they had to do an emergency surgery. We both survived the that kind of thing. Very, very lucky to be alive, so to speak. So this was given to me by a group of elder women to remind me that two together as one are close to the heart
Oh,
and will
that's
always be
beautiful.
bonded. And I mean, I'm just like tears are kind of like welling up in my
That makes me misty, and I didn't
yeah.
that's
Aw.
not even my experience.
So and it was a special it was like I had these women, basically elder women, saying you are
That's
coming to this
beautiful.
ceremony, and I'm thinking like, oh, okay. I was the youngest person there. I was at the time, I believe, 34, and I think the next oldest person was in their 60s. So that was like a real honor.
Oh, I wanna
And
hug you
then
right now.
to be around that community in that way, where we had a sweat and we had a singing circle and we had a feast and we were together for like 4 days out up in Canada. It was just unlike anything I've ever been a part of. And
Amazing.
so it just really strengthened me and made me feel like, yeah, I'm not only a survivor, I'm gonna thrive on this, whole situation. So there's just something about that, our relationship to each other and our relationship to the beings that live here in this creation. It's just all connected. And then this feather here was also given later. I was really surprised to actually receive this one as well, but it was given to me by some veterans. And I don't want to get too personal, make it too long of a broadcast, but it's also a symbol of what I want to say is um, when we talk about being a warrior or a warrior woman or a person in the community, it doesn't necessarily mean someone who's out there fighting people.
Right.
It's like standing up for what's right, or coming through something. Veterans of foreign war, of course, they have this eagle feather staff that they have. You see it at the beginning of all of our ceremonies, and the veterans are the ones that carry the eagle feather. It's more than an honor, it's a duty, it's a responsibility to carry that with you. And so to hold it in your hand as you speak, it's to help you with that wisdom and to bring it to you so that you can remember that you're a part of this community, you're interconnected. And it just talking about it, it's as if it happened yesterday, being given this. It's so special. And so we take great care and honor. We talk about honoring the eagle in a sense. With any animal that has passed, we have respect. I knew this woman that lived 10 minutes away from me, and anytime there was any kind of bird that had passed away or was on the side of the road or whatever, she had this thing where she just took great care of the bird into its afterlife. I know that sounds like, something that might be foreign to other cultures. Maybe it's similar to other cultures, but nothing about nature is useless or should be thrown away. It should be respected and honored, just as if it was your own relative. So that's why I had to say what I had to say before you guys took off.
Yeah,
But and I
Beautiful.
really want to thank you. I really want to thank you for all of you being in this circle, in a sense, on the screen with me, and just this. I'm really honored that you were wanting to share all of this with us, Dr. Sasse.
Well,
So
Michelle, it's been an absolute pleasure and really privilege. It's just amazing. The way you're bound to nature is, goodness me, I wish more people were like that. It would make the life for animals very easy, and probably you wouldn't need a lot of wildlife biologists who have to do so much in conservation. So I want to thank you for your wisdom and your
oh, thank
insight, and I
you.
want to thank all the artists here for their beautiful contributions. It's been an absolute honor, and I just put behind me also a symbol of of unity of eagles.
Oh, look
I
at
love
this.
that
So
one.
that's just a beautiful picture
I
of.
almost
Oh
picked
my
that one to do. It's
So
so
That
breathtaking.
looks like a sculpture I did once, but it
That's
wasn't eagles, but
beautiful.
it was something shaped like that, and I called it like something about like being in love. It was like
yeah.
one above the other like that. Oh, that's beautiful.
So it's just as a symbol of unity, just as you
Nice.
had these twin feathers, I had to put this one up.
I
And
love
I
that.
It's
want
been
to
it's been a
thank you.
pleasure, sir, having you tonight.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. So I'll be signing off now. I gotta run because I'm getting
Right.
phone calls. So I better
I
go.
figured, yeah, we kept you here a lot longer than we planned. It's actually been
That's
two
fine.
hours. We
It's been
appreciate
a
it. I
pleasure,
mean, I
and
think
and
you
and
we just enjoyed you so much.
and thank you for all the viewers too, for your patience
Yes.
Yes, thank
and your
you.
Thank
dedication,
It's been
you.
amazing.
and let's do this again in future. It's been a
Oh,
pleasure, really.
You
we'll
got it,
bring it
dude.
with bells
Okay.
on. Yes. Oh, there is Jeremy. Hey. I think I might wrap this up here in a few minutes, but before we do, again with the round robin, we're going to do the artwork. But yes, thank you for being here.
Okay.
You know how to DM me, and I know how to DM you, and all
Okay.
of that stuff. And
Thank you, Christian. Is Georgia still
yeah,
in there?
I think she had to go.
She scooted.
She scooted.
Okay.
We kept her probably a little bit longer than she had time for, but that was so gracious of them to
What
do
an
that. And so we'll just
experience.
I'm just like
That was
blown
really
away
fun.
how
That was
this
so
turned
fun.
out. Yeah, I want to see what you got going there, Brenda. But I feel like I've just barely got a render, but let's take a look and see. And again, Jeremy, if you don't mind, we just might come into your broadcast with Eagles. I don't know if he said he was up to it. We'll just see. I'm just switching things around. What am I doing? Okay, let's do this.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Oh
Applause.
my gosh,
Thank
look at
you.
those lines.
Look at
Love that.
that. Oh my gosh. Yeah,
Oh, thanks,
those I
guys.
think seeing do you think seeing those videos and the other pictures really helped you understand the anatomy of the eagle a little bit
Oh,
more?
absolutely. I loved it. It
And
was,
yeah, and for some reason I thought you were an art teacher. Why
no,
did you an art teacher? Why?
no.
But you
Maybe
are a
you
I
should
teacher.
be, or you're in another life.
Tell
I
me.
was in
Yeah.
another life, Lindsay. Yeah.
Okay. There we
I
go.
really haven't gotten back into art. It's probably been only about 5 years. So
But you are a teacher. Am I wrong about the whole
Oh,
thing?
thanks, Georgia, for that link. We will
I'm
check
kind of
that
a
out.
jack of all
Thank
trades.
you.
My main job is administrative assistant for a school that specializes in autism.
That's right.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
it is.
Well,
That's
you
the
can help
school
me out a
tie-in.
lot. Yes, there we go.
Oh,
And I'm autistic and I need someone to teach me a thing or two. So I'm
you're
just kidding.
beautiful. You're
I'm just
beautiful the way
kidding.
you are, Michelle.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm
Thanks,
teasing myself.
Karen. Guys, thank you so much for
Thank
hanging
you.
out with us and enjoying all this wonderful art
Thanks,
and
everyone.
photography and science. And I feel like I went to school and had everything crammed in my brain all in one day.
I felt like this could have been a
Oh,
much
he's
longer
so
broadcast. There
cute.
was so much in it. You know what I
I
mean? Like
love
this
it, Lindsay.
really was a lot. Oh, look at
Oh, it's not
that. I
blurry. Here, quick, take a look.
Yay, quick, 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 take a look. Stop
I
blurry.
Quick,
love
look.
him.
And of course, we lost Anthony there.
Oh, she came back.
Oh, she came back. Okay, thanks.
Hi, Georgia.
Yeah, we're just gonna wrap this up and
Okay.
end it, I think, and then we'll just come back in Jeremy's broadcast with our art if he's so willing to invite us, which I'm sure he
Yes.
is. Yeah, and then again, it doesn't have to be the sketch party. It could be Lindsay. It could be like I said, Brenda. It could be anybody. Uh, Joseph, who's not here. I definitely love all these pieces, but yeah. Let's see here. Bring your work to the 9 o'clock show. I'll start mine and you can finish yours. Yeah, I feel like
Sweet.
I'll be starting mine at that point. Because it really was. I knew it was gonna be too much. I should have had something ahead of time, but it was my one day off. So and I had things I had to do on top of that. So I
I
couldn't
might jump in too, Jeremy. I'll see how I feel.
Yeah. So again, thank you guys for being here. I'm gonna wrap this up.
It's good to see you guys. It's been a while.
Yeah. Well, I again. Oh, there's Georgia. We get her out of there. I think she's gone. Oop,
Yeah,
there we
she
go.
just scooted out.
So, guys, I am Michelle Alexander. The three of us that are left here, Brenda, we got Brenda down. That's my picture, not even Brenda's. What? We don't even have her in the window. What's happening
Do
here?
you know which bird is your bird?
I don't know which bird is my bird.
Have you seen this bird's mother?
The bird is the word. Okay. And I did it again. Where did she go? What happened to her? There we go. I clicked on Gerald. And
You guys, you make my day. You're so funny.
You
I
know, if
needed a
it's
good
gonna
laugh.
be, if there's gonna
We
be,
try.
like, you know, out of all the things that I want to go right, of course, it's not gonna happen.
Flipping
right
birds.
like this.
Michelle's flipping birds.
I'm flipping the bird. Oh my gosh, that reminds me of a t-shirt we saw today, but I can't say that
Oh
now.
boy.
Okay.
Well, man, what a spiritual,
was
artistic,
cool.
scientific.
A little
All
bit
I feel like
everything.
all the bases were covered.
Yeah. Well, if
Yeah.
you think about life, it is a circle, and there's all these different parts of us as human beings.
They
but
wrote a
here's the thing
circle.
that
They wrote a life circle song about
John
that.
Trudell, who is passed away some years back here, Native American philosopher. He was a member of AIM. Famously was one of the group that took over Alcatraz, but he was like what I would call like an intellectual and philosopher who could explain things really well. And one of the things he said about artists is that the artist knows what it's like to be native. The artist knows what it's like to live in nature and to have that relationship. Like out of all the people out there, you know, the artists are very similar and are treated like, you know, in the same way. We can be visionaries. We can be people who are connected to things that other
Right.
peoples don't see.
Right.
And so that was such a major honor and compliment that you talk about the connection to nature. You know, you wouldn't need advocates and environmentalists and all that, like they said,
Mhm.
if people would just think of it as a way of life, that this is part of your life. You have a
The way it's
relationship
supposed to be.
with these beings, the way it's supposed to be. And art, of course, is a way of life. So
Right.
yeah, and it helps us mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And that's why you saw all of those bases being hit in that circle. The circle of life.
Speaking of, I have a lovely shadow base made, so I'm going to call that my stopping
Ooh.
spot. And
All
I
right.
will
Well,
come back,
yeah.
start flushing out shadow, feathers, and all those fun things this evening
I've
after
gotta, like,
I cooked
really,
it.
yes. I was just gonna say, I'm sure a few of us are a little famished. It's like 2 hours.
I'm
It's
kind
getting
of
close
hungry.
to
Guys,
supper time. Look at that.
I've made an observation. Doesn't his toes look like Cheez-Its?
They do. They
Oh
look
my
like
God, they kind of look
Cheetos.
Wait.
They,
Cheetos.
Cheetos.
Cheetos. You know,
I
when
can't-
he showed his fingers next to theirs, I'm just like, wow. I can only imagine what my little fingers look like. But
Don't they look like Cheez-Its? No.
I wish they could be. If they were made of cheese, they would be in more danger, I would think.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
I'm gonna throw this up here so we can all take off. So this is my new little
Okay.
takeover. Let's see if it works. It says support creative arts. Yes,
I love it.
Oh, I
up
love
there.
that.
Thanks everybody for joining.
Yes, thank
you
you.
so much. And you got a person there who's live streaming and creating art, and
Thanks,
they wouldn't
Georgia.
do it without a cup of coffee, right?
It's
So there's
making
a
me
cup of
paranoid 'cause
coffee
it's
in
over
there.
the keyboard, though.
I know, that is true. If you have a little anxiety there. You see the coffee ring. It should be, yeah, get that
That's
coffee ring.
literally what my desk looks like right now. If I
I was saying that.
kid you not, that's exactly
That's
what my
why-
desk looks like.
That's why I picked this image, because this is what
I mean,
it looks
seriously,
like to be
here,
the broadcaster.
this is like-
Mhm.
I love it.
That's really what my desk looks like, and
You
that's
got
only
your,
the
you got your
cropped part of
headphones
it.
at the ready, and when you're ready to go live, and you've got all of your little stuff and things out.
Oh,
you
I
get
have
your
like
keyboard
piles
and-
of papers and pens and markers galore.
But coffee in the left hand hovering over the devices, that's not cool. But I
Yeah.
put this up here, support creative arts. I want to thank everyone, the HAPS team.
Whoa, did she crash? She did crash.
Uh-oh.
Well, she wants to thank the HAPS team. She wants to thank all of the artists
Wait,
that participated today. She
I
wants
think she
to
got
thank
muted.
Dr. Sasse and Georgia for joining us and sharing all of their wonderful knowledge. And she
I was
wants to
trying to-
also thank everybody in this show would not be
Oh my
possible without
God.
viewers like
Guys,
you.
I seriously wanted to. I hit the broadcast awards to bring up and thank everybody who gave me an award, and it booted me out of
Oh.
my own broadcast.
That's
But
all right.
anyway,
I just picked it up and ran with it. So we already
Thank
thanked the
You
viewers
did.
and the guests.
Yeah.
So you take it from there.
Lucia, Drew, Pablo, Mark, Peter Bittner, all of you from the HAPS team, thank you for the awards. Thank you for the support. And thank you for taking our ideas, like these collaborations, and trying to make that a thing across the whole platform. We appreciate being, part of that collaboration.
I
And
appreciate all 2,400
What?
viewers that came by
Seriously?
today.
And thank you, Karen
awesome.
Martin, for subscribing. I know some of these folks came in; they were from the other, the wildlife people, supporters of
Fantastic.
wildlife broadcast. So thank you for coming over and subscribing. And yes, support creative artists. That includes the photography. Go to his channel. Go to the HAPS Takeover. Go to their places and give them some coin. Give them some Patreon support with a monthly subscription. Do that for everyone that was in the window. And I thank those who have done that for me today. And now I'm going to say goodbye. I'm ending the broadcast. Not
next
you.
time.
Apps of windows are going to be closing because I clicked the right button. Toss them a coin. Yes, that's the best way to support artists, not just to say hi, but to subscribe, like their artwork, look where they're at on other socials, and of course, give them a little coin to say thank you, to keep them creating live on HAPS. Bama Pimi Wakwabman. This means I'll see you again later. Bye.
Bye.
See you in the next thing.